Hey guys, I am Carly. I'm here with Rentful614.com. We are Franklin County's eviction prevention hub. And right now, today in Ohio, we know that 29% of renters aren't entirely sure how they're going to be able to pay rent this spring. So if you know 3 renters in your personal life, your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, you know someone who's struggling with housing instability. And we want to be able to help. Luckily, here in Franklin County and in the city of Columbus, we have millions of dollars of federal pandemic relief funds to be able to help people pay rent and stay safe at home. And that's what we do here at Rentful. We're the one-stop shop for getting everything you need to save your home and to avoid eviction. And it works. So far, our team of partners have already helped over 33,000 Franklin County families avoid eviction and get access to about $80 million of federal relief funds that they're entitled to. So today what I want to do is show you around the website a little bit, give you a quick tour. I'm going to focus on the tenant journey a little bit, but I want to underscore that this site is for everybody. It's for tenants, it's for landlords, it's for nonprofit groups, and it's just for friends and family, folks who are looking for a little extra information. So if you want to come along with me, you can go to www.rentful614.com. And as soon as you log in here, you're going to see these awesome yellow buttons. These are your quick jumps. They can get you right to what you need. Today, like I said, we're going to go through the tenant path. And once you click on this, as it's pulling up, you're going to see a couple more buttons, and those are your quick jumps. They're going to get you, if you're in a hurry, if you want to get directly to our rent assistance providers and submit your application ASAP. The buttons that you're going to see here in a second, where it just says get rent assistance or get legal assistance, that's your quick link. We have a couple extra minutes today, so I'm going to go through the longer version and show you a little bit more of the website itself. So one of the first things you'll see as you start to scroll down is what is rent assistance. And there's a couple of things that I really want to emphasize here. The first is that renters and landlords can get up to 18 months of help paying rent. That's back rent if you've already missed payments and you need to catch up. It's also future-looking rent. If you're still not back on your feet and you need additional help, we can pay your rent looking forward. Also, this is a grant. It is not a loan. You do not need to pay it back. We also see, as you keep going down the website, that we want to be really transparent with what the eligibility requirements are. We want you to understand what's eligible, what kind of qualifications you need to meet. And the first thing that you should see is that this is not a long list. You need to be a Franklin County resident. Easy peasy. If you are not, we do have a link to other places you can go throughout the state and throughout the country to get the help through a different provider. Couple quick things to note on eligibility is, what is not required. You do not need to live in a household that has children. Singles certainly can qualify. You don't need to have caught COVID-19. You don't need to have been diagnosed with the coronavirus. You don't need to have lost your job because of COVID-19 or because of any other reason. And importantly, you don't need to be behind on your rent yet. In fact, it's better if you're able to reach out for help as soon as you know that there's trouble, so we can get connected with your landlord and get those resources to them before you even fall behind. Some of the biggest things to know about eligibility is, first, there is an income qualification. This is your income. You either today, if you're still struggling, or when you had started to fall behind, if you had a hardship but have since recovered. And one of the things you'll see is that these are pretty high income levels. We want to make sure that anybody who needs help is able to get it. You do also need to have experienced some sort of hardship. I think, unfortunately, after 2 years of a global pandemic and huge economic setback, almost all of us are able to meet that requirement, whether it is increased expenses, job loss, reduced hours, especially if you have kids who were out of school for some time. That hardship is really open-ended. So think hard about whether you qualify, because most of us do. And then finally, that this is a resource that's really designed for renters. It's really designed for their landlords, people who have a tenancy. If you're a homeowner and you're worried about your mortgage, we have other resources in here that you can click through to get help. But we just want to make sure everybody's getting to the right place. I'll go through the rest of this tenant page really quickly, just to throw out a couple highlights. So the first is we have this amazing tips and tricks document. We want to make sure that all of you guys can connect with rent assistance as quickly and easily as possible. So those are some tricks to get you through fast. We also know that if you are struggling to pay rent, other things might not be clicking either. So we have a lot of other resources that you can connect with to kind of fill in the gaps there. little bit of a sneak peek. We're going to go through all of our different rent assistance providers here in a second, but you can find a snapshot of them here. And then we have tons and tons of frequently asked questions. With this program, with this resource, we really want you to feel in control. We want you to have the information to determine whether you're eligible and what you need to do to get eligible. So all of these are questions that you can click on and get longer versions of the answer to. And I'll say, if you've got additional questions and it's not answered here, shoot us a message. We'd love to expand this. We want it to be really living and really kind of breathing with what your needs are. The last thing on this page and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, I want to show you is what to do if you're already in an eviction. This is a program that you don't need to be in an active eviction to qualify for. But if you are, we've got this great Know Your Rights document that you can even print out and take with you to the courthouse. If you are in an eviction, it's not too late to get help. And there's a lot of options that we can kind of go through to make sure that you're still able to get that relief. So that tips and tricks and that eviction prevention guide, both of those are great. All right, let me go ahead and switch pages now. And you'll see I'm up here in the navigation and I'm going to the resources tab. This is the meat and potatoes of the Rentful 614 website. This is where you're going to find all of the helpers. This is where you're going to find all of those nonprofits. These are the guys who are here to help you submit an application to get rent assistance. And again, we've got these quick buttons. Anytime you see these yellow buttons, those are your quick buttons to get you right where you need without going through all of the text and all of the reading. But you can see you can sort this list by who's providing rent assistance, who's providing legal assistance. We have free and we have discounted attorneys who are able to help if you're facing an eviction or other housing question, and if you need utility assistance. We also wanted to have some filters for folks who might have kind of a special need that they need satisfied. For instance, if you live in the suburbs, you don't want to have to come all the way downtown to talk to somebody. You want someone who's closer to you. You can filter the list by suburban resources, by those groups that have providers and they have counselors and they have staff who speak languages other than English. And especially if you're not someone who loves the internet, you're not comfortable on a computer, we want you to be able to find those groups that have in-person drop-in applications where you can walk in the door and talk to a live human being. But for us here today, let's just take a look at everybody. One of the things you'll see right off the bat is that we have dozens and dozens of nonprofit providers, all of them located right here in Franklin County, who can help. And they're wonderful and they kind of meet you no matter where you are in the process. We have groups like Central Community House and the Clintonville Beachwell Community Resource Center who are located in your neighborhoods. So if you want to talk to someone that you know that is right around the block, we've got a ton of providers who can do that for you. We also have groups, if we go down further, who specialize in serving specific populations. So one example is the Somali resource link. They have, Somali community link can provide services in a lot of different languages if English is not your native language. Another example is Kaleidoscope Youth Center, who's great at providing services that are really dedicated to our young people and LGBTQIA populations. In fact, why don't we click on there and I can show you a little bit about what a profile looks like for these providers. And Kaleidoscope is a great example because they do serve a very specific population. We have other groups like Impact Community Action or the Columbus Urban League that are here for everybody and that, certainly are not going to limit who they take applications from. But if you want someone who, is really qualified and has unique training to serve LGBTQIA individuals or young people who are experiencing homelessness, then Kaleidoscope is a great example of that. You can also see that if we go up to the top on any of these profiles, it'll take you to their website. And the first thing you can notice when this comes up is that this is the application. This is where you go to ask for help. This is where you enter all of your information. What that means is you can apply today. You can do this quickly, immediately, right away. We also have on all of these profiles on Rentful a little bit of extra information about what these groups do. So like I said, if you're struggling with housing, maybe you also need help getting access to safe, healthy food. Maybe you also need access to utility assistance. Maybe you also need access to mental coaching and counseling. You can find all of those services here. The last page I want to show you before we kind of tune out for today is the spread the word page. So if you are tuned in to what's happening in Franklin County, it is going to be no surprise that we are in a housing crisis. We've had over 28,000 evictions filed just in Franklin County just since the pandemic started. And we're seeing hundreds and hundreds of more of these legal filings every single week. What that means is we have a lot of people who need this help, who need access to these millions of dollars of resources, but they don't know that it exists yet. We need your help to help get that message out. We need you to do everything you can to make sure that those friends, those colleagues know that Rentful is here to help. And we want to make that as easy as humanly possible, right? So we have all of these wonderful graphics, these little images that you can share on your social media. You can put them up on Instagram. You can put them up on Facebook. We also have outreach flyers, which are wonderful. These are kind of one sheet pages that are all, easy to print, easy to share. They're wonderful if you're going to a church group, if you're going to a community event, just to print a couple out and have laying on the table. We also know that talking to people who are in a financial crisis is hard to do. That's a difficult conversation to have with a loved one. We've included on here some ideas and some suggestions on how to make those conversations less awkward, because we all need to get that information. So that is it. That is Rentful 614. I would love for you to take just a quick minute, go play around, go to rentful614.com. I promise you can't break the website. There's nothing scary on here. Even if you don't think it's something that you need personally, you might find an answer you didn't know existed. It wasn't something that you needed. And if, a friend does come up to you and confides that they are struggling, you'll have resources to send to them. So I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, for listening to me for a couple of minutes. If you do have questions, if you have suggestions, you have ideas for the website, please drop it in the chat. We'd love to see it. Thank you so much and have a real great day.